After spending 5 days in Kenya, learning from the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority, Kamsa, the delegation from the Outbound Logistics Directorate of the Ethiopian Pharmaceutical Agency, EPSA, crossed the borders to the Pearl of Africa, Uganda. They will be learning from their Ugandan counterparts, the Uganda National Medical Stores, NMS.
My coming here is to learn the best experience of our sisters, similar organization.
I always said we should not we should not pass through what Kamsa and NMS pass through. That way, it should not take us long to reach where they are now.
On the first day, the delegation were taken through a presentation on the NMS Operations, after which they toured the NMS Entebbe warehouse.
The way they manage the warehouse space against the incoming goods are very impressive. So we would like to learn from that. Most of the time, when the products arrive in the warehouse, the warehouse space is always an issue. But in NMS, the warehouse space is not an issue, right? Because they know the schedule when the product is arrived, and they make themselves ready accordingly.
They spent the second day touring the NMS New Kajansi warehouse that is being built in Wakiso district. The team was really impressed by what they saw.
The facility that NMS has been able to come up with has actually made the NMS become an icon. New facilities are coming into operation in August, and I believe when it's up and about, it is really going to be very impressive.
It's a modern warehouse. I have never thought that such kind of warehouse would be found in Africa. So it is really amazing what I have seen. State-of-art warehouse they built with all the complexes, with all the features that are important for the to create a conducive environment for the staffs, for the employees. They have lactating mothers stay room. They have a gym. They have a general maintenance department or section. So they have also even the underground water. They treat and recycle it, so they cannot have any water supply shortage.
We were told about the conveyor belt, basically organizing the order picking and separation of different routes, that this one goes to this other route and then this other one goes into the other route, and the conveyor belts will also be used to do loading of packages into the trucks. And what I did like most was the blind loading, where they said that the drivers of the trucks carry blind commodities. They do not know the value. They do not know what they are carrying. They only get to know when they are at the delivery point, which reduces the aspects of theft.
All this was not achieved by accident, but through a deliberate process that involved input from all employees.
From the inception point of building this warehouse, every employee has participated in generating ideas, so that can be reflected on the design, so that every the work processes are well streamlined and smoothly flow.
The team spent the third day interacting with the Client Services Department, where they were taken through the NMS customer service and complaint handling process.
This customer service department handles the function of the forecasting and quantification directorate. It also handles the order processing, which in our case is managed by the inventory management team. And also it quantifies the annual need of the customers, the health facilities under Ministry of Health. So they aggregate the annual demand and directly submit to, reconcile with the budget that the Ugandan government allocated for every health facility and submit it to the next level, that is to the procurement. So the output of the customer service is taken as input to the procurement and contract management activities.
The Stores and Operations Department hosted the team on the fourth day. The Ethiopian delegation observed that the department had implemented a very lean, effective and efficient fleet management system.
They have a small number of vehicles. It's around 25 vehicles. Imagine they deliver for more than 3,000 health facilities within this limited number of vehicles.
But in our case, more than 200, but we can't access that, or we haven't that platform to reach each door-to-door facilities.
The department has also implemented a web-based delivery monitoring tool.
Whenever the driver finished the loading process, it will make a login and notify to the security guard that is leaving out of the compound. So this confirms that the coordinators at least have the chance to know the status of the shipments. And even at the delivery, at the service delivery points, they also notify, acknowledge the recipient of the delivery shipment. They are also implementing the barcoding system, which helps them to reduce the picking error and improve their efficiency of picking and productivity of the workers within the warehouse.
The way they try to minimize the expiry of the product is very impressive, since they use a framework agreement.
Personnel is the engine that drives any supply chain operation, and the Ethiopian team was impressed by NMS staff.
The working culture of every employee in this organization is very impressive. They do things in a passionate way. They know their goal. Every employee, when we ask every employee, they know what is the mission of the organization and what is the purpose of each employee in its area.
The delegation noted several similarities between NMS and Kamsa.
Like Kamsa, they are doing the detailed activity similar of that of Kamsa. In one operation, there is a lot of tasks they are doing: is receiving, put away, replenishment, picking, and consolidation, and even shipment is in the same flow that of Kamsa.
Another similarity was that NMS and Kamsa are both semi-autonomous authorities, but EPSA is an agency which limits their power to make and effect decisions independently.
The Ugandan government gives full mandate for National Medical Store to procure, warehouse, and distribute essential medicines to all governmental organizations, governmental health facilities. But in our case, even though we are under Ministry of Health, we don't have full governmental support to influence the health facilities, even their supply chain system.
There were several gaps in the EPSA model that the delegation identified during their visit to NMS.
Currently, we have interface challenge throughout EPSA's process. For example, in our context, as you know, there is no FOB destination or DDP.
In which the ownership of the consignment is transferred after the consignment is delivered to the warehouse of NMS. So it will not be bothering it whether discrepancies happen or the port clearance issues are handled by the supplier. It's not the headache of the NMS. In our case, it is an FOB origin, in which case EPSA takes the ownership at the port of clearance, means at the manufacturer's origin. So that's why we are facing a number of challenges like that: surprise deliveries, warehouse storage space constraints, discrepancy handling. All these things are compromising our service.
In Uganda, even their procurement agreement is their own currencies, or Ugandan shilling. Unfortunately, Ethiopia, in Kotarmore, they are agreed in USD dollar. The other one, automation or visibility. Automation, they started to implement ERP.
In our case, it is more of paperwork, and it is difficult to trace even documents promptly. Whereas when it is electronically, you can just make clicks and generate the type of information you want at any time, as far as it is web-based.
The SoSoKE visit to Kampala was very successful. And as the team goes back to Ethiopia, there are several areas that they have identified that require immediate attention.
One is the shipping arrangement must be reorganized. We need to change our shipping arrangement from FOB origin to FOB destination.
The first thing that we my organization should have tried to capture is that, try to control the national pharmaceutical budget of each health facilities.
The customer service department must be established in EPSA so that it will function as a forecasting and quantification. It also handles the customer orders and monitor the delivery of this product of the customer, then handle the customer complaints that will come after.
The EPSA team appreciates the selfless effort by NMS and Pamela Steele Associates to make this SoSoKE engagement a success.
Thanks for NMS for their hospitality and their commitment.
I would like to thank Pamela Steele Associates, just for being beside us to support us, to capacitate us, so that the supply chain of EPSA will be transformed.
EPSA's journey towards becoming the best and most responsive medical supplies institution in Africa is on course. And with such South-to-South knowledge exchange visit catalyzing the process, EPSA's dream will soon be a reality.